Okay, so I have not read this book yet. I have the book, I just haven't read it. And I'm depending on a book and depending on the situation, sometimes I don't mind spoilers. For this book, I don't mind spoilers. There's probably going to be spoilers in this article, so I'm warning you in advance. But this is an interesting book, and I always love to point out books like this in case you're looking for something from the big two that's actually good. And this is one of them that's actually good. Jonathan Hickman, of course, doing what he does and just crafting a great story. Black Panther accused of murdering the strongest Avenger. And how's he going to get out of this one? This article is from comicbook.com and it's written by Tim Adams. Black Panther has to clear his name after the strongest Avenger's son is murdered. There's currently a cosmic war taking place in Imperial, the four-part event series by Jonathan Hickman and Eben Cielo and Federico Vicentini. The assassination of galactic leaders is what has thrown the various empires into chaos. While readers of Imperial recently learn who orchestrated these attacks, many of the individuals involved aren't yet privy to that information. This is how we end up with Black Panther and the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda as prime suspect. An Imperial spin-off series follows Black Panther as the search for answers begins. And this is good storytelling and world building, and it's kind of like a thriller. And I think Jonathan Hickman does this a lot. I think he purposely crafts all his stories this way, where it feels like you're watching this on a grand stage. Even with Ultimate Spider-Man, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm watching all of this play out on a very grand stage, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Not everybody can do that. This is, you would think that all of the comic book professionals who've worked in the industry for any length of time can do this, but it's not so. There's a lot of writers that are good, and then there's some that are standouts, and Jonathan Hickman is one of those standouts. I think him and Scott Snyder, for me, as far as the big two, there's Ghost Machine. Those guys at Ghost Machine, they got something going on as well. So there are some out there, but it's definitely few and far between. Marvel released a preview of Imperial War Black Panther #1. I'm gonna have to pick this up by Victor LaValle, Jonathan Hickman, Cafu, David Curiel, and Ariana Maher. It picks up with Black Panther in the middle of a fight with Hulk and Brawn. Amadeus Cho, Hulk's son, Hiro-Kala, was one of the galactic leaders assassinated, along with Emperor Jason, Star-Lord's father. The perpetrator wore the vibranium armor of Wakanda. And I mean, when I saw that in the book, I'm like, this is a classic misdirect. I would not be shocked to find out that it is somebody we did not expect. And of course, they just appropriated some Wakandan armor to make it seem like it was the Wakandans, which leads everyone to believe that T'Challa the Black Panther is behind it. Now, I think people who've read comic books for a while, when they saw that, I mean, if you're anything like me, when you saw that, I immediately thought to myself, yeah, nah, it's not Black Panther who did this. But nice setup, though. Of course, that's not the case, but try telling that to an angry Hulk out for revenge. Yes, Hulk is ready to smash. I need to read that #2. I'm going to read it, Lord willing. Black Panther has to convince Hulk that he didn't kill his son. Skrulls surround Black Panther, Hulk, and Amadeus Cho after a group of them defected from Kree Skull Alliance. The attack on the Galactic Council by the Wakandan hitman results in the disappearance of Emperor Hulkling as the only person capable of keeping the Kree and Skrull from ripping each other apart. The tenuous alliance between the factions has come to an end. So instead of Hulk and Black Panther battling each other, they'll have to team up to stay alive. Good one. Good one. I like it. And this is part of Jonathan Hickman's ability. He does things so differently than some other writers. And it's it's a talent that not everybody has. And like I said, there's a lot of great writers, but there's some writers who stand out that have unique talents. T'Challa and Amadeus Cho try to talk some sense into Hulk, but he's not listening. Amadeus does recognize that the Skrulls are dressed in Regalian and Hatut Zaraz uniforms instead of standard Skrull attire, indicating that some scheming is taking place. Yeah, when the Skrulls are involved, there's always scheming taking place. You should know that right out the gate. Perhaps the Skrull impersonated a Wakandan assassin. We know that the Grand Master and Maximus of the Inhumans are responsible for creating the tension that has led these empires to war. Black Panther and Wakanda Prime must clear their names before any more bloodshed can take place. This is all the markings of a good story. And I don't know how much of this or if any of this plays any part in what Hickman is working in the Ultimates. I know the Ultimates is a whole, another universe, but this is comic books, so anything can be related. So I wonder what he's doing. I would lobby for Hickman being over all storytelling at Marvel. If I was president of Marvel and I had my way, or if they would listen to my voice, I would say, put Hickman in charge of storytelling. Let him run the show. You would come out with some, man, I can't even imagine the good stories that would come out of that. Blame for the assassinations that have started an all-out galactic war. T'Challa will first need to survive a brutal assault from the Worldbreaker Hulk and Amadeus Cho before he can even think about hunting down the true culprit. The description of Imperial War Black Panther #1 reads, and all while his spacecraft spirals towards certain doom, sounds like another day at the office for the Black Panther. Another day at the office indeed. 5 new titles will spin out of Imperial once the event concludes, and one of them stars Black Panther. The 5-series slate features Planet She-Hulk, Nova, Centurion, Black Panther, Intergalactic, Exiles, and Imperial Guardians. Black Panther, Intergalactic doesn't release until December, and a creative team for the book hasn't been announced yet. Fans can expect that the events of Imperial War Black Panther #1 will impact Black Panther Intergalactic and serve as a lead-in for the new title. The other Imperial one-shots also appear to be setting up these new comics. Okay, we're going to see what Marvel does with this. Of course, there's never any guarantee that these things will be good, but I will say this Imperial book definitely got my attention. It's probably one of the more solid reads that Marvel has put out. And again, no shocker there. Jonathan Hickman's, fingerprints are all over it. He does good work. So yeah, this is something I'm definitely looking forward to. I need to grab my issue #2 and get to reading.